I can't stand the inauthenticity. It has to stop. I tried with you, Meghan, really. You got to pick a lane. You got to stay in it, okay?
The fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
Does it make you sound like a better mom? It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself in a way.
Meghan Markle's pregnancy story is falling apart, and Candace Owens is the one tearing it to shreds. 2 epidurals that medical experts say are impossible, a 2-hour hospital discharge that defies basic safety protocols, and 3 different explanations that don't match up.
She kind of sold her soul to the devil. I was instantly enraged from this 10-second clip. It just annoyed me.
I'm not making this up. The contradictions are in Harry's own memoir, and once you see what I'm about to show you, you'll never look at their story the same way. Let's dive in. So here's the question that's been swirling for years. What if the most celebrated royal birth of our generation never actually happened the way they said it did?
We know that they deceived the public about the birth data and time of the whole event.
Why lie? It was just so truly bizarre.
Something like that. So she wasn't even pregnant. So it's very weird. And Harry, it was said to Harry, not to her. I mean, she just came in.
Meghan and Harry have always controlled this narrative with an iron fist. Secrecy here, contradictions there, and a timeline that when you actually break it down, starts to look really suspicious.
Meghan is a trained actress. What she does is that she studies people. She's not a good actress, but she is a trained one.
She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
And now, Candace Owens is saying what a lot of people have been thinking but were too afraid to say out loud. She's not tiptoeing around it. She's flat out accusing Meghan of spinning a story that doesn't hold up to medical scrutiny. And trust me, the evidence she's pointing to, it's damning. Let's start with what Harry himself wrote.
I have proven that I am authentic because I twerked with my husband in a room. That's not a normal way to answer the question. People think her kids are fake. They think they're AI. Like, what do you have to say to people who don't think you're authentic? And here's what Meghan Markle says.
You have to be authentic. Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance? I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just...
That's Candace Owens, and she's been relentless on this. She's not just pointing out little inconsistencies, she's saying these aren't innocent mistakes. According to her, this is a carefully constructed narrative built on shaky ground. Now, you can love Candace or hate her, but here's what you can't deny. She's asking questions that medical professionals are backing up. And when doctors start raising their eyebrows, that's when this stops being gossip and starts being an investigation. So what exactly has everyone so suspicious? It starts with Harry's memoir and a medical claim that made every doctor go, wait, what?
I think that she's manipulated him using the death of his mother, which is so creepy and so scary. I've never seen this sort of. I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us one strip of authenticity.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
Okay, here's where things get medically wild. In his book Spare, Harry writes that Meghan received not 1, but 2 epidurals during Archie's birth at Portland Hospital. Now, if you don't know why that's insane, let me break down what an epidural actually is. It's not a shot. It's a catheter that gets inserted near your spine and stays there, delivering continuous pain relief. Once it's in, doctors can adjust the dosage. They don't need to remove it and insert another one. Switching epidurals mid-labor, that's not just rare, it's dangerous. We're talking risks of nerve damage, infection, even paralysis. One anesthesiologist said she's only seen it attempted maybe twice in her entire career, and both times were emergency surgical complications.
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump.
So why would Harry casually mention this like it's a normal Tuesday? 2 possibilities. Either he misunderstood what happened and got the details wrong, or this detail was added to make the birth sound more dramatic and traumatic than it actually was.
It sounds fake.
Exactly. Because here's the thing, if Meghan actually had a second epidural, her recovery time would have been significantly longer. You don't just bounce back from double spinal procedures, but according to Harry's own timeline, she was out of that hospital in record time. So, which is it?
This crisis won't die down until the irrefutable truth comes out.
That she never intended to go to the Portland hospital. She intended to have the baby at home.
It's lie upon lie upon lie.
Was this medical detail wrong? Or was it exaggerated? Because either way, it makes you wonder what else in this story doesn't add up. But hold on. because the timeline after the birth is where this whole thing completely unravels. Harry claims that after giving birth at Portland Hospital, Meghan was discharged, made the drive back to Frogmore Cottage, and was already settled at home with baby Archie in just 2 hours. 2 hours. Let me walk you through why that's not just unlikely, it's medically impossible. First, hospitals keep new mothers for a minimum of 24 hours after delivery. They're monitoring for bleeding, checking blood pressure, watching for complications. That's standard protocol everywhere. Second, if you had an epidural, especially 2 of them according to Harry, they're watching you even longer for spinal headaches and nerve issues. Third, if there were hints of preeclampsia like they suggested, you're not leaving that hospital for days. Preeclampsia can cause seizures. It's life-threatening. No doctor in their right mind would discharge you in 2 hours. But even if we ignore the medical red flags, let's talk logistics. You've got newborn screening tests, hearing tests, vitamin K shots, paperwork, getting a brand new baby into a car seat for the very first time, then driving 40 minutes across London. And Meghan, who just gave birth hours ago after these supposedly traumatic complications, is just totally fine, sitting in a car, walking around.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
It doesn't look normal to me. The belly doesn't look normal, doesn't look like where a pregnant woman's belly is, and I don't understand what all those bumps on the belly are.
I think the palace and the machinery of the monarchy needs to take Harry and Meghan more seriously.
A neonatal nurse broke this down online and said, quote, either she's the fastest healer in human history, or someone's timeline is very, very wrong. So why present such an impossible timeline as if it's normal? Was it to make Meghan look superhuman? Was it to downplay complications? Or, and this is what critics are saying, was it a detail added for effect, not accuracy? Because if the timeline is fabricated, it doesn't just raise questions about this one moment. It casts doubt on the entire story. But wait, it gets even messier when we look at what the palace press team was dealing with.
That belly looks very abnormal. That it looks very strange.
You need proof that I'm authentic? I just dropped myself twerking. Obviously, I'm authentic. So she's bringing that up to say there is now PR.
If you look up close in the video, it looks like there's like a bag or like some sort of something shoved up under a dress.
It was a dreadful thing to do and actually completely wrong.
It does not look like a pregnant belly. It looks all bumpy. It's very strange.
But if she hasn't had the children herself or Harry hadn't been involved.
It looks like what you'd get if you put like a pillowcase full of like socks or something under your dress.
For over 200 years, royal births have followed one sacred rule. The queen is informed first, then the public gets an immediate official statement. It's tradition, it's protocol, it's how the monarchy maintains credibility. But when Archie was born, total chaos. Meghan gave not 1, not 2, but 3 different explanations for why the protocol was thrown out the window. First story, it was about privacy. Second story, medical complications forced a change of plans. Third story, something else entirely. And by this point, nobody knew what to believe anymore. Royal correspondents who've covered births for decades said they were completely baffled. One reporter was told Meghan was still in labor, while Archie had actually been born hours earlier. The Times, The Telegraph, BBC, all of them had conflicting information. And here's what's chilling about that. These aren't random bloggers making stuff up. These are seasoned professionals who know the system inside and out. And every single one said the same thing. Something is very, very off. When protocols that have existed for centuries suddenly get tossed aside and replaced with constantly shifting stories, that doesn't just spark suspicion, it destroys trust. And to critics like Candace, this wasn't a mistake. It looked like a deliberate attempt to control the narrative, even if it meant bulldozing royal tradition. But the evidence doesn't stop at press chaos, because what hospital insiders revealed about Harry's memoir, that's when things get really damning.
You go back and you look throughout Meghan Markle's entire career. She never wanted people to know that she was Black.
And then you had this idea with your husband that you should twerk and put up a camera.
The whole description she does of the Portland Hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated.
Put up a camera, fixate it, and then both of you start twerking. Because in her mind, she was thinking, I'm going to release this later in a net.
I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but if I were pregnant with a royal child, you would want that child in the best care that money could buy.
So in Spare, Harry paints this cinematic picture of the birth experience. Gourmet meals ordered at midnight, a secret elevator that whisked them away from photographers. It sounds like a Hollywood movie. Problem is, according to Portland hospital staff who were actually there, a lot of those details are either wildly exaggerated or completely false. The secret elevator Harry mentions, multiple employees confirmed it doesn't exist. There's a private corridor that VIP patients use. That's it. Nothing secret about it. And those elaborate late-night gourmet meals, that's just standard private hospital catering.
They can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood. Without that, there's no chance of them coming in a member of the royal family.
It's a lie. She's not in the hospital trying to induce labor by twerking. The hospital will not give you a bed because you're trying to induce labor. Why would you record this for any reason? Why would you record this in the hospital?
I think she was about 7 months pregnant, and this is when they were still within the royal family. And she said, I was going to kill myself, but I didn't do it because I didn't want you to suffer the same thing.
Nothing special was ordered. Now, on their own, these might seem like harmless embellishments. Authors exaggerate, right? But when you stack these on top of the impossible medical claims, the broken protocols, the contradictory timelines, it stops looking like innocent mistakes. It starts looking like a performance, a carefully scripted story designed to be memorable rather than truthful. And that's the real problem. Every small lie chips away at the bigger narrative. If even the minor details about food orders and hospital layouts don't hold up, then what does that say about the major claims? To critics, these aren't just background noise. They're proof that the entire account was staged. Now here's the contradiction that really stings, and it's the one that Candace has hammered the hardest. Meghan has built her entire public image as a global advocate for maternal health. She's given speeches about how dangerous childbirth is, how mothers need extended monitoring, how conditions like preeclampsia are life-threatening and need serious medical attention. But then we read Harry's memoir, and according to his version, Meghan endured multiple interventions, including those 2 questionable epidurals, and even suffered from preeclampsia. And yet somehow, she was discharged and home in 2 hours? Do you see the problem? If the story is true, then Meghan is promoting dangerously reckless behavior. She's trivializing serious medical conditions and setting an example that could genuinely harm other mothers. But if the story is false, if these details were dramatized or exaggerated for public sympathy, then she's exploiting real maternal health struggles that women actually die from. Either way, there's a problem. Either she's minimizing life-threatening conditions by making them seem easy to recover from, or she's lying about having them in the first place.
I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to.
Suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
Absolute media manipulation. But I thought tonight this was really ridiculous. These are 2 real important.
And both scenarios undermine her credibility as a maternal health advocate. This isn't about gossip anymore. This is about trust. If Meghan's own birth story contradicts the medical standards she publicly champions, how can anyone fully believe in her advocacy? So the big question, why? Why create such an elaborate, contradictory story that falls apart under basic scrutiny?
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample or proof of delivery.
Why would you do that? That's not necessary. It is really hard with her and her, I would say, lack of brand clarity.
They have to have royal blood. Without that, there's no chance of them coming in a member of the royal family.
She was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to pretend to be a real princess.
Theory 1. Control. In a system where your entire life is public property, maybe lying felt like the only way to take back power. By shaping their own narrative, they could shield themselves from the media machine. Theory 2. Sympathy. A traumatic birth, heroic recovery, impossible resilience. It's the perfect underdog story. It invites compassion, admiration, loyalty. And for a while, it worked. But Theory 3 is darker. What if the secrecy wasn't about protecting Meghan at all? What if it was about protecting the monarchy itself? If the official timeline of a royal birth can't withstand scrutiny, what does that mean for an institution built entirely on legitimacy, tradition, and bloodlines? Maybe covering up the inconsistencies wasn't about one couple. It was about keeping the entire royal family from looking fragile.
The lawyer saying that in that statement, when they had that long attack on the Mail, we know she lied in her statement.
A week after she drops this, she goes on a podcast. She gets a lot of hate. People don't think you're authentic. It's like she's playing a human being, like it's a performance.
Whatever the true motive, the result is the same. Instead of silencing speculation, the contradictions fed it. What started as an attempt to control the story ended up eroding public trust even further. And this is where Candace Owens really drove the nail in the coffin. For years, anyone who dared question Meghan's pregnancy was immediately shut down. You were labeled a conspiracy theorist, a troll, a hater. The media machine went into overdrive to protect this narrative, and anyone who raised doubts was cancelled or mocked into oblivion. But then Candace Owens stepped into the ring, and she didn't just ask polite questions. She came armed with receipts. When someone with Candace's platform, millions of followers, national TV debates, someone who doesn't back down, when she lays out the medical evidence, the timeline contradictions, the hospital inconsistencies point by point, suddenly this wasn't fringe speculation anymore. It became a legitimate investigation. She's not hedging. She's not saying maybe or possibly. She's saying the pregnancy story doesn't add up. And she's backing it up with facts that medical professionals are confirming. Here's why Candace changed everything. She didn't just point out problems, she systematically dismantled the narrative piece by piece. Medical claims? Impossible. Timeline? Defies hospital protocol. Palace communications? Deliberately contradictory. And then she did something even more powerful. She framed this not as innocent mistakes, but as a carefully crafted illusion designed to manipulate public sympathy. Think about what that means.
You don't like her, it's not your fault. It's because she's extremely unlikable, okay? She has the non-it factor.
She delivered it like an actress delivered it. An opera responded going, wow.
This wasn't just about privacy. This was about constructing a narrative so compelling that questioning it would make you look like the bad guy. Exactly. Thousands of people had these same questions. But Candace said it out loud when everyone else was too afraid. She gave skeptics what they'd been waiting for. A credible voice who couldn't be easily dismissed. And the backlash? It came hard. But Candace doesn't back down. If anything, the attacks made her dig deeper, because she asked the one question that cuts through everything. If Meghan and Harry can't be transparent about their child's birth, something they chose to make public, wrote about in a memoir, discussed in interviews, then what does that say about the rest of their story? What about the racism claims? The royal family's cruelty? The mental health struggles? If the foundation, the birth itself, is built on contradictions, how can we trust anything else? And once that question is out there, you can't put it back.
All Harry and Meghan need to do is prove to us that she popped those babies out.
I am sorry, but, and genuinely, I don't even mean to attack her. There was something frustrating about her, and I think he hits nail.
Pandora's box is open. What was dismissed as gossip suddenly looked like a puzzle worth solving. What was laughed off as conspiracy suddenly had medical professionals nodding. What seemed unthinkable, that they'd fabricate birth details, suddenly seemed possible. Whether you agree with Candace or not, she accomplished something huge. She forced this uncomfortable reality into the mainstream. She made it okay to question. And she didn't just expose Meghan and Harry, she exposed how easily we're manipulated by compelling narratives.
So all of the pictures, my point is, out there were inconsistent with the idea of a real pregnancy. A royal physician was not allowed to examine her womb.
But if you think this pregnancy scandal is shocking, the age controversy coming next is going to blow your mind. But if you think the pregnancy controversy is wild, buckle up, because it doesn't stop there. Meghan's own father, Thomas Markle, has made explosive claims about her real age. And if he's right, this isn't just about one birth story. It's about an entire identity that might be built on lies from the very beginning. We're diving deep into that next, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. The evidence is shocking, the implications are massive, and it could rewrite everything you thought you knew about Meghan Markle. So, what do you think? Did Meghan and Harry fabricate the story of Archie's birth? Or is Candace Owens just stirring up drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to hear your theory. If this breakdown opened your eyes, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next chapter in this royal saga might be the most explosive yet. This is Gossip Slice, where we cut straight to the truth. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and I'll see you in the next one.